Flying at night's a blast. Like when it's a nice clear night, and it's just like, that's so much fun. Because it's cool, you get up there, especially on a dark night. Even like a full moon night is fun too, but like on a dark night when there's no full moon, because you're flying and you're looking, and it's like, oh, there's Lansing, there's Saginaw, there's Cadillac. Like you can see all this stuff, and that's just, it's cool. Putting your client first, right? I think especially in this career at times, right, it can be really easy to, hey, somebody wants to buy whatever, right? Whether it's an investment property, a commercial building, or just a house, right? And it's just it's an easy transaction, and you just kind of can slam the deal together and go from there. I think our job is to advocate for our clients and look at things kind of critically and be like, is this a good idea or not a good idea? More recently, I've talked a bunch of people out of buying things, just because it's like, hey, I don't know if this is actually maybe in your best interest, right? Not necessarily from whether it's inspections or like on the investment property, and I have a bunch of investors that I work with, and we're looking at, is this actually an investment, right? So you got 7% interest rates. You're looking at a property. By the time you calculate all the numbers in, is it actually an investment, or are you buying a hobby, basically? I had one recently where it was a multi-unit complex. Client was really into it. Went and looked at it, ran all the numbers, pulled all the rents, figured out what the taxes, the insurance, the mortgage, figured out, maintenance, deferred maintenance on the property, put it all in, and it didn't make sense at all, right? It was a hobby. It wasn't an investment, right? Yep, you've got some tenants, but it's not an investment. You're not making money every month. At best, at the numbers they were talking about, they were going to break even. So you've got a client who really, really excited about this property and really wants to put this deal together, and then you look at it critically and you realize, like, this is going to be an anchor, right? This isn't something that's building your portfolio. This is actually something that's probably going to weigh you down. And then you just show the numbers to the potential buyer, and then even you have that critical conversation with the seller, and the seller's saying, nope, it's worth 1.1 million and I won't take a penny less. And by the time you break all the numbers down, you're like, listen, unless you buy this thing at 500,000, it doesn't make sense. And here's why. The insurance on the property, $7,000 a year, all of these factors play in, and you don't make any money. So I think it's important. I think the one good thing we've got going on at Lacuna is everybody's of the mindset of, you got to advocate for your client, and you got to look at whatever they're doing in this sandbox of real estate, right? That it actually makes sense for them. And with every client, it's different, right? There's certain clients where they're willing to lose money on something because maybe it's adjoining their other property, or they've got a specific reason. But you have to tailor that, tailor our services to them, right? It would have been really easy for me to say, yup, totally, buy it for 1.1 million, and yup, you'll be good. But we didn't do that. We looked at the numbers, we put it into the spreadsheet, we looked at it all, and then took it to the client and said, okay, you can do it, but this isn't an investment anymore. This is a hobby. And does that make sense? Like, as soon as the client realized, by the time we put everything in, yeah, it did make sense for them. And they said, yeah, I'm good. Let's find the next one. Is that if I have questions, if I start looking at things and I think it's going down this path, I got a few other fantastic professionals that I can lean on. I can call Doug or Bruce and I'd say, hey, am I looking at this right? And it's being willing to ask those questions too, just to ensure that we're looking at things well. There has been times where I'm looking at things and, I think it's going one way, but it's, you ask the question, nope, hey, tweak this or tweak that, and boom, okay, it totally makes sense. But no, number one, you look at the numbers and you say, okay, does this make sense for the client, right? And whether it's they're buying a residential house, right? Okay, what can they actually afford, and making sure that they're set up with a good lender and putting all of those pieces in place. That's where you start. And then from there, you don't let the client get too excited or it's got to be this thing. My dad used to say, any deal you want too bad is typically a bad deal. So there's been times where clients, hey, they have to have this house, right? And they're willing to give up everything for that house. Sometimes those are the worst deals. And you have to have that critical conversation with your client and say, hey, we can do it, but, right, it's always their decision, but let's look at it from all of these other angles, and let's look at the numbers and make sure that it still makes sense. If they still want to go through with it, that's fine, but at least we did our due diligence to say, hey, this is what we're seeing from our perspective. I need to get there and see how much water I have leaked through. I got a hole in my roof I got to go fix.